of what really went on. For those of you who don't know, currently, the United Nations, they are having their UN annual meeting summit. Now, this particular annual meeting summit, all leaders of various nations, but then something did happen when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama stormed there. And also there are talks of Lordina Mahama speech. We are CNN, BBC, everyone is talking about it. And even over Ghana, I say, Abronya is even reacting to this particular issue. There is a lot. But for those of you who the question, let's just give you a snippet video of when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was really mobbed. Okay, a month for two bamno. We've not seen this in a long time. Usually, when presidents go outside the country, the UN general meeting, last time Akufo-Addo koyeno, supporters and Nkofo by demonstrate here. But then we are seeing something different. Let us watch this video. Ya babaka, ya be share agrono, I say officially. So we gave you the update, say, okay, United States of America, something is indeed happening. And what is really happening is so shocking. Now, the UN General Meeting and the General Assembly, they have their own summit each and every time. And what we are seeing is that this particular year, the United Nations is having their annual summit. But then what makes this very special is that this is the first time John Dramani Mahama airco in the second term. Mahama Edikan could be that way before Akufo-Addo became president. But then the reception was different. What you are watching on the screens, idea different. Why am I saying this? Just last year, when His Excellency former president of Ghana, Akufo-Addo PM Wohono, the videos are there. He was met with boos. He was met with a demonstration. He was met with people who were angry because na economy Galamsey was destroying things. But then here we are, you could see the atmosphere. Even MPP people even came out to say John Dramani Mahama, 8 months of he being in power, it is better than the entire 4 years of Akufo-Addo's second term. Yes, I'm of the people who also believe Akufo-Addo, the first term, was something good. But then when you say in everything, there is controversy. There is controversy. Why am I saying that? In as much as His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, there were some people, paid MPP people. Yes. The whole thing is that almost Mahama and they started Galamsey ewa Ghana. Now, I know say Mahama himself, you said on this particular platform, say he needs to step in and do something about the Galamsey issue. Because for you to say you will not declare a national emergency, which means contracts a only Ghana for call yes oba best topic Galamsey nti see as a wo twetwe ho but regardless no in some people also about to dwa the speech the first lady of Ghana Madam Lordina Mahama eko make here now amount for be are really shocked because oko social media in fact someone like Abonye was saying say all this time no Lordina Mahama obeye no ye second lady second lady satama na atamos president no obeye first lady Mahama the first term no he never knew say Madam Lordina Mahama not brofo people see as akwaba mama no aje so sa and people don't know how brilliant and smart this particular woman is. So she also gave a speech, but then before ever call speech we have issues I was say a tackle. Oh, of course, definitely. Because some Ghanaians in New York, okay, whilst in some way, Koswa Mahama Eji, the warm reception, no, at the airport, and an MP before in New York say, hey, you better demonstrate it. So, unfortunately, I don't know how you want to put it. Fortunately or unfortunately, Mahama was also met with a bit of a demonstration. We are learning that this demonstration it is coming from MPP people. More party say, I didn't know Mahama beba New York. Now Obia beka say Mahama yadi. And according to them, Mahama is not doing anything. Mahama is not doing anything. So this particular video channel, you will see people, which is Ghanaians in the diaspora. How we are learning that these are key NPP people. Akufo-Addo family members, Edubuahine family members, Bawumia, Nechiba, and Omako Hodi Plaka, say Mahama and started Galamsey. Into US are buying US are buying NCC Mahama, US are buying and yet they stop it John Dramani Mahama. Let us watch this particular video. But there's an issue brewing in regards with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Donald Trump. These two have been clashing, okay, back and forth this particular few months. Now that Mahama is there, what is really happening? Now, we'll give you a scope for what CNN is saying about His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and also Donald Trump. But before then, you can share a bit of the protest, of course. So,
nations to put the president in order because you cannot hold protesters in prison as well as in police cells without legal representation and medical care. This is what is happening. 60-year-olds are getting arrested. Little kids who were included in the protest are being are detained as we speak. Pregnant women are being detained as we speak. And this is the president of Ghana. This is what illegal mining called Galamsey looks like. And I want you to go on the internet and do a search for Galamsey or illegal mining in Ghana. And I bet you see all our rivers looking like this. And we cannot even speak. Very soon, Ghana will be importing water. People are having kidney diseases because the water is polluted. The Ghana Water Company cannot even find the right chemicals to be able to purify the water for normal consumption. Many people are importing water into the country, and this is what we are standing against. We are also in solidarity with our brothers who have been arrested and have been detained, and we are asking the government to release them as soon as possible. Release the protesters now. Release the citizens now. Release the citizens now. United Nations to put the president.
So that is what you saw. And yes, these protesters are saying said the UN should hold Mahama accountable because Mahama, you see, obey a president, he's moving around arresting people left and right. According to them, Mahama have turned Ghana into a tyrant, into a military rule, and also the president. Onwa or the Galamsey he's saying he's not going to fight Galamsey after lying to Ghanaians and said Obabaka he will do something about the Galamsey. And definitely this particular thing is pissing people off. So the people who are there, Akufo-Addo ni nuanom Bawumia ni nuaba Akoko University and Omutresha almost say if Mahama will come and receive a beautiful audience, if Mahama will come and also receive an applaud from the Ghanaian community, we need to send a message to the UN said this man he is not worthy of praise. The ideal thing is that the Donald Trump administration need to lock him up, arrest him, seize him because he's impeding on the rights of Ghanaians and he's also failing to fulfill his end of the bargain, which is stopping Galamsey by declaring a national emergency. Now, That is just a part of those issues at ECOSO USCCR. One other issue that is also going on, let me make it clear, is the fact that Madam Lordina Mahama, she gave a speech, and the speech that she gave, people are saying, say, her speech was definitely remarkable, but the impeccable English that she spoke. A man for a patch say, hey, now, Mami Otiprofosa, we'll be watching this particular video of in Sema, Madam Lordina Mahama Ekai, because we are learning, say, it has something to do with girl child. Women, the right of women. The Bible even referred to them as weaker vessels. That is how it is. But then, women all over the world, not just in Ghana, they are not getting the right resources. They are not getting the right representation. And there is an issue. And Madam First Lady Lordina Mahama, make certain statements. And people are definitely shocked. It's a because in as much as Omeki statements, down here in Ghana, Abronya himself was shocked. Abronya oba back in the first show Omeki, or say Madam Lordina Mahama, or broke video. Why are they? Why are they? Papa. Now let's watch this particular video. Babaka, betwaso.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in faith, I bring you warm greetings from the good people of Ghana, from my husband John Dramani Mahama and our family. I also extend well wishes from the Lordina Foundation, through which we work tirelessly to improve the lives of women and children in Ghana. Thank you for the invitation to the annual prayer service for children. It is a powerful event hosted by the World Vision International and your partners. On behalf of the children from around the world, thank you for your unwavering commitment to the vulnerable. I am pleased with this year's theme, a moment of hope. It is very relevant, particularly as our leaders gather for the 80th UN General Assembly at a time when the global order is rapidly changing. We gather here from different nations and cultures, but we are united by our shared faith. Through prayer and collective action, we can create a world where every child is protected and empowered to achieve their full potential. To quote President John Dramani's words, the challenges facing our children today are immense, but they can be tackled through decisive leadership. Across the world, children are affected by conflict and humanitarian crisis. The UN estimates that hundreds of thousands of children are caught up in armed conflicts. A significant number of children are in Africa, where they are robbed of their childhood, forced to fight, and go through terrible experiences. These are precious lives, destroyed by circumstances beyond their control. When nations fail to focus on policies that safeguard the home, strengthen communities, and nurture the youth, it is our children who suffer the most. When conflicts erupt, they are the ones who lose parents, siblings, homes, and dreams, and carry emotional scars that can last a lifetime. This is why this prayer service is so vital. It is a moment for us to pause, reflect, and seek divine intervention. It is a moment to collectively pray for the wisdom our leaders need to make the right decisions. As the Bible reminds us in Proverbs 9:10, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. With divine wisdom, our leaders can follow paths of peace and progress for all children. Prayer builds strength, not just in the children who face adversity, but in us as parents to continue to work hard for their well-being. Jesus himself demonstrated profound love for children, telling us in Matthew 19:14, "Let the children come to me and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." And in chapter 18, verse 3, he calls us to learn from their meekness and purity. It is in this spirit that I humbly lift this prayer for the children of Ghana and the world. Heavenly Father, I lift the needy and orphan children in Ghana and across the world into your loving care. I ask that you surround them with protection, comfort, and hope for a brighter future. Provide for their daily needs, including food, shelter, clothing, and education. Bless those who dedicate their time and resources to care for them. May these children grow in wisdom, strength, and joy, knowing that you love them. Guide their paths with opportunities, surround them with kindness, and let their lives shine as testimonies of your unfailing grace and provision. Amen. My dear friends, in this moment of hope, let us renew our collective commitment. I know that God, the Almighty that we serve, will continue to bless and guide us, and guide my husband, the President of Ghana, to implement policies that protect our children, open opportunities, and prepare them for a good future. Thank you, and may God bless and protect our children as we lift them up in prayer now and always. Thank you.
So that was the first lady. She gave a very nice speech. But then, do you know one person, according to him, this speech, Lodina Mahama and Meki, there's a problem with it. Abronye is saying, sir, there are big issues if a year Lodina Mahama, Ghana will be wasting taxpayers' money. Listen very well. Now, you better fly Lodina Mahama to the United States of America to go and give 15-minute speech. According to Abronye in the video, Madam Lodina Mahama, speech no come make here, what kind of speech there? But then moving Lodina Mahama from Ghana, okay, to the United States, and back, at the end of the day, Ghana, you boka almost $500,000 Ghana cedis. And according to Abronye, there's a big issue with it. So, or making the debut after the arrest, after your man the bill from Yoku, your man the bill from Ghana Police of Insimbi or Kokan, yeah, since I'm not Kokan, it's now so, Eka say, we're making certain threats against a public official, with this particular public official, IGP, no, Oba, Nipa, what sounds to me, so, Madam Lodina Mahama. Now, let us go and watch this particular video involved, because this video, it clearly tells us, okay, where all of this is going. Abronye, we don't know his end game. Yedim Abronye's end game for dragging Madam Lodina Mahama in all of this mess. But then Yankoshe video Babaka, we definitely have a lot of things also in stock. And Yaka will say we are live, okay? Please bring in your comments along the way. Be ready. There are more issues be brewa and be can one sem. It's in Mr. Please join the convo by dropping in your comment, and also my who are concerning this particular issue. Yankoshe Abronye video nearby better.
Mahama and nay neire our UN brofubia wako keka wo ho no enya brofukuma enya na kam ninche Lodina te brofusa a producer hwehwe voice no mame brofubia Lodina ko keka no wo honom no mumisa say
them from around the world. Thank you for your unwavering commitment to the vulnerable. I am pleased with this year's theme, a moment of hope. It is very relevant, particularly as our leaders gather for the 80th UN General Assembly at a time when the global order is rapidly changing. We gather here from different nations and cultures, but we are united by our shared faith. Through prayer and collective action, we can create a world where every child is protected and empowered to achieve their full potential. To quote President John Dramani's words, the challenges facing our children today are immense, but they can be tackled through decisive leadership. Across the world, children are affected by conflict and humanitarian crisis. The UN estimates that hundreds of thousands of children are caught up in armed conflict. A significant number of children are in Africa, where they are robbed of their childhood, forced to fight and go through. This is so vital. It is a moment for us to pause, reflect, and seek divine intervention. It is a moment to collectively
you see?
So yes, that is what Abronye is saying. Now, Abronye is more kind, no, okay, or can't sem edi asem so, okay, but uyobia oye smart abeti ase. Abronye say brofubia wakano, be oshemua na osre eye Madam Lordina Mahama se brofu no kokan oyi ni bako asa konkosia, because on person be a mistake, and also no brofu no ye do. I thank you Ghanaians, and Abronye said there be. So on social media, definitely no MPP4 Abba out. Almost some reacted to this party say, hey, saying tia ena your friend is saying we Madam Lordina Mahama yentin nkan da dibia waye din. Now according to Abronye no na or party say sadie we are ekoso yi de enye, it is something na ekoso a neni engine because o share brofo no anyhow ye maame kan na enye. But then there's also a second video involved of this same Abronya or party say a car your boy ya Ghana for you wasted taxpayers money to take Madam Lordina Mahama to go and give, in his words, a bad speech, because speech in the ankeye, but brofo no issues from according to Abronya any MPP for call social media obungs anomuka ye boka $500,000. In TNT, this particular one, ye babaka, we also have a different news coming from Choco, because boxer biaku ya a boxer is dead. Now, sa boxer no a yin bibri. But before then, no, yin could see Abronye again. Osanso air drag Madam Lordina Mahama over her delivery at UN.
Ghana, another day, we for son, no, I showed you, and they no casino. We are spending over $300,000 on Lordina Mahama, our UN General Assembly. Give me say. Sika tokono ane nikunu adi tu kwano enuru $20,000 ento mo se mo yinadi enti President Mahama so neda duai mo ba yinadi ana eno na eda di say o mining democracy no are turning upside down. Na sa UN assembly ya omokoyi panyini bi wo NDC mu a mene ne ye fine ne ye neighbors. Ono na mede mani toye enka me katra omo say enka sa UN General Assembly enka Ghana mo nkobi na se mo amunim ne ato mo me katra mo prince sa panyini na mene ne ye neighbors awo NDC mu no ana mede mani toye nanka UN General se wa man bebra omo kodro ne ya pam omo kamegu Ghana ni mase flat kamu nkobi kamu bedruwa ye ba pamo kapede Mahama onya kwanya e ma street bia wo UN General Assembly ho ka ho na obehu say bad boys Messi aba wɔ ha no. Messi aba wɔ ha no. From UN General Assembly hɔ no. You have no idea. Panyini na me di na mama ni to ye. Kami break mu down ma mo di aningwase ba betena fie. Mamu hu sɛ opia nsuro mu wɔ kurom ha. Panyini na me di mani to ye. Na me ye din na me pusia. Anhwa na bia kokana na magai. Kamora mo ba ti sai. Mo kayan kan trem o mo duru ayese. Unya kwane match speech bia wo ruwan de na sam na nka mo de ningwase abetena fie. Ba panyini na me di mani to ye. Na me ye din kaningwase afi keba to o man Ghana no e wo ruwan de na sam me se kapeda Mahama be kwa akoso ho anso kaye man nkasa ma ye bebe bia wie abene soko ba panyini na me di mani to ye kam ho na mo behu sai o mo wi na ma ka kire mo sai eye Kwame bafo abronye e na ko so mo sa usu ba so timinyam foko koya pamo tapanyi na me de mani to ye kama dwirimu agu e wo yuwa na samle ma mbo hu sai neta no mo ne birimu diri a ofisa me no wo betima tete me a me so ba tete o pa ma tete o pa.
So that was in Sema a course where you could see say Abronya himself no patch say uncle work some petition be akoma UN say uba krum ha ubawa ne acho na Mahama no or you be a he's retrogressing Ghana and until no my UN for a man kwan e man be ma any speech until no he was even though he was working if anything on a petition not the akoma UN but in peniphobi your friend is saying in peniphobi ewa NDC mu a odi omini eto no so enu tia na otwen petition ne sanka His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ne yere Madam Lordina ati ase anka omu speech no ko make ye no anka nya ade a ebeye den ebeba. So that is exactly what is going on. I just say quite fascinating because everyone is definitely reacting to this issue. Obia reacting. People are coming to react to this. Obia so Canada. You could see say at the end of the day, no, very very sad. But then Charlie, it is what it is. Obey the day so. Now moving on straight to Choko Enibukum. A brand here uhuni picture on the screens no. Very handsome, vibrant man. Forget about Sabian and Nimyedu because of your boxer. But on my vintage style dressing, ocean spectacles, nini chain, nini coats now, it tells you say he's here to stay. A brand and real name, and a name in real life, no, your friend Ernest Akushi. Ernest Akushi. Now, Ernest Akushi, no, Juma or your boxer. Or your boxing, or your boxer. Na ni stage name no Bahubali. Bahubali. Any who share the press conference. Bahubali. Bahubali. Edim no. Na abranti no recently oko have a fight. Okay? Oko have a fight. Ewo a bukum. But unfortunately no me no ka say no wehu. Na Bahubali no uyo bi outashe movies. Abo se Bahubali Indian movie bia ewa Netflix ebe hiti ye pa mbe say sa Bahubali no movie no at the end of the day omu shoot wie box office in Kwano we are learning say the box office worldwide no, was somewhere around your friend is saying na a door so pa the box office was almost over 150 million dollars worldwide. Into India movie be any pay your friend Bahubali masha sa movie neda aha iti Bahubali ena odi ato ne ho sa movie ni di because abrante no no is strong iti boxing ya abrante ko ye ena owu ya you better come and watch a video because there's something that happened and this is very scary because Oba Ghana is here now. I think this year this is the second or third time you lose boxer Omukun yepe no mewu. Omukun yepe no mewu. Beyen kwahwe time abrantie no wu a oda ka mu ye babaka match na okokun ya at the end of the day no this out nyema we nyina ba ekokohwe sa particular match no. But then it's here for the video kwahwe ni enyan kakra Mr. Webu enoda o yenhwe video ne ba ebe. So boxer Bahubali and a wuda hono. So this what really happened. On a brandy bi kokon just 48 hours ago. A brandy and a friend Jacob Dixon. Inti so we need the boxing na ekoso okroma bukom arena na. They really hyped that particular that particular fight. You know how Floyd Mayweather ne Pakai become hype fight. No? They did the same thing for this particular man or the same. I think say I was here this video no to her. A video of time and normal hype fights no. I was here 2 screens no so. Inti omo hype fights na inti ono a friend say Dixon and Akushi in real life no your friend no in real life friend and Akushi Benidini Bahubali no on any opponents okay Joshua Dixon, is it Joshua Dixon? Jacob Dixon omo hype fight ni ye pa the video ni be out to screen so to share. This is him inti no I think so nipa na okasa sisia no let me go forward. Yeah, so this is Bahubali and Ekasa. What I say ahead of the promotion. And away other guy no. So you could see them so omunyina omu promote fights na omu promote kama. And unfortunately no omu ye na say abranti and bewu. Yen kwhwe the video involved. Boxing match no kun ya ultimately no which led to his demise. Yen kwhwe that particular video ne babaka. We will show you or will tell you what really killed him. And why this particular thing? So boxing match it is becoming unbecoming because boxing is supposed to be an entertainment. It's not supposed to end in tragedy. It's not supposed to be a burial grounds. Video babaka aso. It's here for bell na boy, you know, that was the final bell of his life. Bell na boy, you know, referee. Mind you, this was the 8th round. This was the 8th round. Bell na boy, you know, because the rounds is like 12 or so. It's the 8th round, no. Bell na boy, ken. That was when referee said, "Yeah, stop him match, no. Brantin lose. Now, Brantin lose won't mean to us to be. Now, if I'm being no social media, people are bashing the referee. People are bashing the referee for not stopping the match early. But then I also don't blame the referee. Okay, I said some months ago, Brantin oko sa particular bukum arena, you know, match. Am I a bono poto? And also no, ya buni wie no. Let's say oko let's say okuta your friend is saying papi second chance Stephen Adum Chedia ne sticker ni ade ne tale no ho. What I say no na de bia all year just say on train crowd on train you de bia Yesu moja Adum Stephen Adum Chedia ne sticker ni ade ene ebo no. Ye bisa papa ne say anko beat me win fight because the referee stopped the match. But say anko beat me win fight no. The referee no and stop a match midway. So I can say most of the boxers no omu lusu near a knockout because when to me call all the rounds now ulusu abruptly a knockout. So omu lusu a knockout now when they come back they blame the referee. But then here no the referee did well by giving him more time. More time no and 8th round. But 8th round no minuaba with him he died. So this was what really killed him. Boxing no kono usually no say oku boxing the most vital place was say o protect it number 1 and our kuma. Why? Because you house your brain. Immediately you bleed in your brain and all your brain injury. Now you so no eminently. Number 1, you can become paralyzed. Number 2, you can get a brain damage. Your nerves and work. Obey Jimmy as about Frabia na adwene because adwene is damaged. And number 3, wakuma ye bob wakuma bibra obetimi nya heart attack ne wewu because wakuma beat whilst you are fighting. So boxers usually protect their face, their head, and also your friend is saying their chest. But I don't know what these Bukom guys are on, and I say how they train. And one is I think Otikronu and our maintain way. Charlie, we can the near din. What you say? Killer Jile, your bebo. Kofe eba yibo. Yes, so area king, it's area king cons are not boxing. But then boxing, it has its own rules. Boxing has its own rules. Into omudi near den they have the rule. But boxing no, and ya one den near de con a skill. Any timing. And unfortunately, these boxers, they don't know. And a young guy like this, I'm not even sure, so he did 30 years. He's dead. All because of a head injury. A head injury. Now, after this particular fight, we are learning, say, Okoye, because I think there's a video, we'll try and play it. Okoye. Any nipa no in the queen, or Mukotina restaurant, okay, there's a video, we have that video. Nipa no ne kun ya nipa ne kun no omo kun ye no instead of him to go to the hospital when nya akotena restaurant with the opponent and o ka se ba hu balu eyimi obaba he say be samba back wa boom be samba back instead of him to go to the hospital and go and check what was happening to him he refused and akotena restaurant no mu tebi few hours and abranti ni buye. Now we have the video of timer. This was just some few moments, okay? We have the video of timer on a new opponent, After the match, they were happy. But now Branty and brain injury no nya net say eboba. Inti yensom. Now we trying to me Asheban. And sad, see the kind of video of a brand no that one. But then you share this particular video of timer Ernest Akushi. Stage name Bahubali. Oni Jacob Dixon. Timer or after the match omukotena sia na omudidi say na abrantie no ebabe we nhwe video eba back ebe to aso.
Ba
Bahubali. So this was after the match. Inti one team crying kasa. Or say bode wa bomi eyimi. Now so meba back. Ati asia ha. Inti no usha eya gronkwa. But then the question is, where were the paramedics? Remember, so this is the third time I deal we see in this year. We are losing people day in, day out because of this nonsense. I was said GBA, the Ghana Boxing Association, also almost set rules and regulations. Say immediately after your fight, you have to go hospital for a compulsory and a mandatory checkup. Now, I told you, say before the match, you know, this particular guy, you know, he was no more hype or more hype. We just want you to watch this video to show how energetic and friendly he was. Osha post-match video near the show, it tells you say this guy was just a humble soul. Unfortunately, just like that. In the video, we are back a bit to us. So that was it. Branton, he's dead. He's dead. May his humble soul rest in perfect peace. But no one is supposed to die like this. Boxing is supposed to be entertainment, not a death sentence. Anyways, let's move on to another issue. Kennedy Agyapong, ended at the 22nd of September 2025. He was invited to come and speak at a program and of course to UPS. In fact, now me cram person me call, but then omu posti program ne flyer no oma ma a particular time. What I say, so minim say 5 or say 10 no. My menu so team and then say omo start streaming live on that program no omo ye de omo share no. But then Kennedy Agyapong akwa bibi e was our program na say. In fact, oko social media, this is 2 word air trending. This particular 2 word air trending no a Asian miracle. Now, on social media, in as much as people are embracing this thing at Agyapong, the Ababe Tujano, others are also demonizing it. In fact, it's basically like a clash of the titans on social media right now. So what did Ken say? We need the history here. You realize that post World War II, okay, which means after World War II, Japan and other economies like Japan, China, and Russia, economy, Germany, economy, down. All of them adopted a different strategy, and in 30 years' time, okay, post-World War II, in 30 years' time, coming from the 1980s, 90s, no, Japan was the second largest economy in the whole world. So what did Japan do? Japan basically said, okay, if you were Mwaba, he suffered a humiliating defeat. You're bombing your 2 cities, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. But what should we do? Are we going to stay down or we are going to rise up? And Japan chose a different path. So, path no much omuyusi no and I can me as Asian miracle. They became the leading manufacturer, distribution in everything. Japan, Toshiba, Samsung, in Japan, in Sano. And also no, China, currently the second largest economy. They also are doing well. Almost so we can term their progress in the world's economy as also an Asian miracle. Because all of these economy and our countries, Asia. So Ken spoke at this summit, say, what he wants to do is simple. Simple Asian miracle. Yenkoshe video e babaka. We continue this particular update because many people are reacting to this.
Theory must end. We have to be pragmatic. We should start from our universities. They should amend their curriculum. to include pragmatism. When we talk about national service, for instance, speakers, an engineer who has completed university and needed experience, when he goes to national service for appointment or recruitment, they gave him a receptionist. How do you expect an engineer to be a receptionist and expect him to deliver? They make a mistake, and we're going to take it from them. They made sure that let us identify young entrepreneurs and give them the support. I will use Asia Miracle as an example. Asia Miracle, Esanyo, Hyundai, and all those companies were giving support. And the support was that when you fail, you are giving money to buy your equipment. If you fail to use the equipment for what you put on that document before the money was released, they will take it from you. And that time, with all due respect to Nana, Nana cannot beg. Pastor cannot beg. Your uncle cannot beg. They will take the business from you and give it to Mr. B. And because the companies knew that when they make a mistake, they were going to take it from them, they made sure that all the equipment and monies that were given to them were properly used. That is why today we have all these companies. But I have to be honest. Ghanaian businessmen or entrepreneurs, some of them are also very dishonest. When loans are given to them to expand their businesses, they buy treasury bills and use the interest on the treasury bills to service the loan. How? I tell you the truth, I'm a businessman and I know that all these things must stop. If not, the future of our youth is bleak. They cannot do anything. So we need honest, as the nation is expecting honest leaders, the leaders are also expecting honest businessmen and honest youth. Theory must end. We have to be pragmatic. We should start from our universities. They should amend their curriculum to include pragmatism. When we talk about national service, for instance, speakers, an engineer who has completed university and needed experience, when he goes to national service for appointment or recruitment, they gave him a receptionist. How do you expect an engineer to be a receptionist and expect him to deliver? This is what we are confronted with as a nation. At least engineers should be introduced to companies specialized in engineering field to enhance whatever they've learned and the practical experience that will enable them take their destiny into their own hands. This side of the world, in my country, Ghana, our policies do not encourage the youth to take their destiny into their own hands. A country where they believe only the old has the wisdom and the knowledge. I'm afraid we need to change. We have to appreciate the youth, the talent, and their innovations. If not, we'll be lagging behind when it comes to technology and innovation. Those days when we were in school, when you take math set to exams room, you were disqualified. But today, they take their laptops to the classrooms. We have to accept. In the exams room, we have to accept that is the reality now. So we have to embrace it. But when it comes to Ghana, anything about the youth is relegated to the background. We need to change that.
So that is the powerful words of Kennedy Agyapong. But I told you, sir, this particular thing on the two journal, people actually clashed on social media. One of Kennedy Agyapong's boys, okay, and our supporters posted that. Now let's take these few comments. Breaking news. I say, if a running mate for a prime minister in the UK were to say they will use Asia miracle model to fix the economy, it will sound like a scam. What a hopeless country where people say anything and get away with it. No wonder we are on the most poorest country around. So these words by Kennedy Agyapong is going to use Asia miracle. To some, they are saying it's just a scam. Almost let's just call it or say it as it is. It's a scam. But then Osha says people and Anipa now posted that particular video. No, he had a different take. Or say, first of all, the UK doesn't even work the way you are suggesting. There's no such thing as a running mate. People vote for a parliamentary candidate and the leader of a winning party for most seats in parliament automatically becomes prime minister. Also, countries constantly study and adopt policies from others. The UK itself has done this economically. After the World War II, Britain borrowed heavily from the US. New Deal model adopting welfare state measures like social security and public works to rebuild its economy. Most recently during Brexit, that is if I say British leaving EU when you say Brexit. Also, most recently during Brexit, public works to rebuild its economy. Most recently during Brexit negotiations, the UK pushed for trade terms and modeled after Canada's agreement with the EU. So please, you are only speaking from the corridors of ignorance. So they clashed again, saying the Asia miracle, no, a Chinese woman Asia for woman kwandi any fake. Regardless, no, the guy, no, also pushi back, Gabriel, no, Gabriel Gansa, or pushi back. And Obi Betro, Asia Miracle can be one wild campaign message. As a country, we need to combine 1D1F, 24-hour economy, and the Asia Miracle model into one and start pursuing aggressively. Unfortunately, the ideas belong to different people that can't sit and plan together. So it says that this whole thing about Kennedy Agyapong's Asia Miracle, it indeed makes sense. But then, now, or say, can you combine one district, one factory, 24-hour economy? But then it won't happen because of politics and propaganda. Again, Obisan try and as they say Gabriel Gansa, I said that's very true. If only our leaders are able to put their differences aside and move with the mindset of building upon good policies, the country will prosper. So straight up from the back, you could see various reactions to this. To some people, no, Ken's Asia Miracle policy ideas, no, it could materialize because currently, no, most countries in Asia, no, they are doing well, and then if you want to emulate them, at the end of the day, your economy a big grow. It is safe to say we start from them. What I say, there's an old adage say you learn from the best. So we need to learn from the best. So that is exactly what is really going on. You could see clearly said this whole thing is really getting a lot of traction. Okay. A new Chief Justice have been named. That is what we are learning. Coming from Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, who happened to be with the president of the communications at the presidency. Now, this particular he was an acting new Chief Justice after Tokonu was deposed and as a sacked. And you didn't see what's on your acting. A dinia, your friend a bad for Bonnie. Now, Minuka say bad for Bonnie in the US, whilst President Mahama was attending to UN conference near the Adenom, and on the press release about say Ghana for Sisiano, there's a new Chief Justice in town. Now, let's read this particular press release. Yeah, there are two screens also. Or say, President Mahama nominates His Lordship Justice Paul Bafo Boni, okay, as Chief Justice, and this came some few hours ago. Today, the September 23rd, 2025. So let's read it. Who this particular man is. Or say, President John Dramani Mahama has, in accordance with Article 144 Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution, forwarded the name of His Lordship Justice Paul Bafo Boni to the Council of State for consideration as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. So they are saying that John Dramani Mahama is using this, okay, Article 144 Clause 1, no, say, okay, to me, I had your man, no, say, on nominated new Chief Justice, no, eduho, into no, I nominated His Lordship or your bar, His Leadership or Bema, His Lordship. So His Lordship Justice Paul Bafo Boni as the new Chief Justice. Justice Paul Bafo Boni has throughout his distinguished judicial career served with diligence and integrity at the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and currently the Supreme Court. So this man is not new to the corridors of justice. He being a judge, he's done remarkably there. He being a judge at the Court of Appeal, he being a Supreme Court judge, he's done so well. He being a High Court judge, he's done so well. So he has the track record. Also, he has made invaluable contributions to the development of Ghanaian jurisprudence. Into a part said Ghana, your justice system, no. They be a correction, they pay Justice Paul Bafo Boni, no. While making a lot of amendments and suggestions, Wama Ghana, Yembrano, Etumpong, Yensanso, Entra Subium, Ewahasi. Also, he's earned the esteem of the bench, the bar, and the wider legal fraternity for his intellect, impartiality, and unwavering commitment to justice. So they are saying that this man is impartial. Unbeserving Mahama, B unbeserving political party. Aside from that, to our dream, he's smart and also he's committed to upholding the constitution and the laws of this country. Yes, and so I say his wealth of experience and long serving on the bench render him eminently qualified for the high office of the Chief Justice. His Lordship has been serving as acting Chief Justice since 22nd April 2025. The advice are paying, so far he's tried, he's done well, and the 1 year so far, just say indeed he can really do the job. Into Ebra Chief Justice Tokonu, she was deposed of her position April 22nd. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama actually, a friend is saying, nominated him to be the acting Chief Justice and delivered remarkably well. So they believe, say, now is the time for him to actually take the mantle. But then, regardless, a little track check on this particular man. Share a same way. Also, repealing LI 2462 is a good place to start if you all want to win the war against Galamsey. So the recent argument MPP 4 making said, let's repeal the LI 2427. He says he support it. So for someone to support the opposition's idea or demands, perhaps it is ringing the bell of impartiality. Again, on this same note, Attorney General Ayini Minuka say a petition akoma the Supreme Court says Chief Justice Tokonu if you are appointing a new person, he wants to seek interpretation. Say Chief Justice Tokonu, does she still have the moral right to serve as a Supreme Court Justice at the Apex Court or not? Is going to be a legal showdown because Gertrude Tokonu has once again taken this matters to court. Madam Gertrude Tokonu has once again taken this matter to court. So Chief Justice, Mr. Chief Justice, Attorney General Ayini, he wants to know the way forward in terms of this whole issue at Air Coso. What will really happen? So once again, we are live in Saint Bibre Air Coso. But I say, there's also cause, okay, an argument for us to know exactly what is really going on in regards with a year your friend is saying our new chief justice, because there are questions. So okay, see our new chief justice now wabano old one ye and then de so me no kase no obi ababe kasa. Now this is what a year nipa wababe kasa, this is exactly what he's saying. Nipa wababe kasa friend lawyer Kofi Bentil, who is the vice president of Imani Africa. Sisi an or patch say chief justice Toko no asan call back to court no. Is it a good thing or not? No, he was reacting to this. And I say yes. For Chief Justice Tokonu to go and continue to go and go and go, and she doing this, no, it is testing the boundaries of Ghana, our legal framework. Is it really strong? Is it really right? Is it at the right place? Yenko tie a lawyer Kofi Bentil in Sema Odi Tuja. Yebabaka, we will continue with more news right here on this particular platform, Pinaxtv.
Yes, so let me find out from you. I'm sure you heard Madam Ayana there with her argument, and even some cases that have already been decided. This time around, the dismissed CJ is in court because she says the petitions that were brought against her were brought against her to remove her as a chief justice and not as a justice of the Superior Court. And so that's what she's in court challenging now. But the other side of the argument is that you're the same person. We're not dealing with two persons. So why do you fight for this? You're a lawyer. Where do you stand on this?
Right. So good morning to everybody and Madam in the studio. Where I stand on it is that, look, I heard Madam saying she's not a lawyer, and then she proceeded to give some unsolicited advice. And then she made some comments as if to say, why is the CJ fighting this and how can she come back, etc. That's a very typical Ghanaian thing, and we, often do that. But in a matter like this, we need to appreciate that, one, that the CJ, as somebody who has been a judge for over 20 years, risen to the topmost position in the judiciary as Chief Justice, and also surrounded by her lawyers, etc., is well advised and properly competent to make some of those decisions herself. So I think that the unsolicited advice is fine, but we should not proceed to make some of these emotionally charged, I don't want to say suggestions, but maybe comments.
Mr. Bentil, before you continue, you think that whatever Madam Ayana said is rather more of emotions. You've heard even lawyers make that same argument.
So let me finish my point. I am saying there is a tendency within the Ghanaian, population for people to give some of these unsolicited advice, as if to say the person does not know what she's doing. And I'm saying that person, she doesn't need to. Madam says she's not a lawyer, but that person who we are talking about rose to the highest position in the judiciary in this country. So please, what I'm saying is that there is a reason why she'll do what she's doing. And we should hold her, especially when you clearly express that you don't agree with her and you think she should go home, quote unquote. So please, let's leave it alone. Let the woman make her, decisions, and we can make the commentary and other things that we want to make and leave it there. My point substantially is this. Look, when you say things about, oh, it doesn't work well, it doesn't sound well, it doesn't look well, those are the emotive issues. But there is law, and you don't know, but the fact is that the law is better served when it is tested. And indeed, a lot of the cases and things that we apply happen because people rose up to test the law, and then better, explanations were given of the law. All right. It was laid out better. It was clarified better. Today, a lot of the cases or a lot of the situations we refer to are from the Agyapong case. Agyapong is a similar situation that went to the Supreme Court, and they used that opportunity to explain some of the provisions in the Constitution. That is the intention of law, that when the Constitution is written, not everything will be there. So when there are issues and situations rise, you take it there, and it gives opportunity to express the law further. So I'm simply saying that, look, we can say, oh, if left to me alone, I think she shouldn't do this or she shouldn't do that. But when we start adding the value judgments and start sounding a bit judgmental about it, and she's not being advised well, and I think we should tone down on some of those things. Look, as a lawyer, and you ask me if I'm a lawyer, I am happy this is happening. And honestly, just like Madam is saying, if CJ Tokonu was thinking about herself only, I don't think she will not be able to sustain herself or get another job or do whatever it is. What she's doing, okay, is maybe to her detriment, at least emotionally, but it is to the benefit of the rest of the country.
Mr. Bentil,
and we start appreciating some of these things.
Mr. Bent, I'll let you come in, but the question again is to what end? Because already you've taken cases to court that you've had the court say that they were unmeritorious. So why are you going to court with the same issues that eventually, not trying to be prejudicial, but the court may say that you don't really have the facts as you should?
Okay, to what end? Let me explain what the law is. Number one, nothing is final in a constitutional republic unless there is a judicial pronouncement on it or the statute of limitations runs out on it. I repeat, nothing, even when you elect a president, when you are given an appointment to anything, it is not final until there is a judicial pronouncement on it or the statute of limitations runs. If you choose not to proceed to have a judicial pronouncement, then it remains as it is. So first thing that people must appreciate is that whatever is done in a constitutional republic, the courts have a say on it. And if whoever is affected decides to go to court, everything must wait for the judiciary to make a pronouncement on it. And let me explain the meaning of pronouncement. When you say, oh, she's tried here and she's tried there and it has not been successful, that is the design of the system. You start from lower courts. And I can tell you as a lawyer, there are people who lose at circuit courts. They lose at district courts. They may lose at the high courts. There are cases where the person they lose at the appeals court, they go to the Supreme Court, and then they win. I can give you some of these cases, but I don't think it's necessary. But just take this from me. You can lose every way down the line and win at the Supreme Court. And even at the Supreme Court, there can be a review that can change some aspects of what has happened in the Supreme Court itself. In fact, the Supreme Court can depart from its own judgments in an earlier ruling. So please, let's get this right. This is the kind of system that we run. The fact that she's lost in an earlier situation does not mean it has run out. And until the judiciary makes a final pronouncement, it is not done. So that is why this is necessary. Let her get through and use all the resources available.
So that is it. So currently, in terms of the new Chief Justice in Sama Ekoso Enono. So we are still on my comments now. So on the next update. Now, one NDC person have broke ranks in regards to this whole Galamsey issue. Nipa mekana semi Madam Madam Gabriela Tete, who happened to be the Central Regional Communications Director. Menokase were raising serious concerns, and clearly, you could see that she's breaking from the usual National Democratic Congress. So everyone is staying in line. Madam said, Debbie. She's not happy with the way Galamsey Air Koso. Now, this particular same Madam Gabriela Tete, we are learning say she is the MP elects, okay, for Ewutu Senya East. We have to get clarity on that. But then what here is that she is breaking ranks with John Dramani Mahama on the key issue of Galamsey. I didn't make us just recently, Dennis Miracles Abuaje or the Simbi Okocha video was Central Regional so you saw how this particular water treatment plant in Suno I say tea. but nyankwani madi bring because the turbidity levels is so high. Now speaking on this particular thing, people were expecting say, this woman was definitely going to take side with the government and say the government is working on it near the but party said there be. These communities and even just far from where this particular water treatment plant is that is a constituency. And then issue no so NDC for anhwe ni ya a bit ma home because it's yasa na MPP de ne ba yenka enene eyomefi power, and Ghanaians voted for real action. So if His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he wants to do something, in fact he needs to start it now. Yenko tie insama Madam Gabriela Tete Odituja, because this is the first time we are seeing any NDC person break ranks with the NDC, because Felix Ofosu-Kwakye he's been dismissive of the whole Galamsey issue. The same thing for Gold Boss CEO Sami Jimfi, any others. Certainly and now all of a sudden they are defending, but then this one is saying the issue is something which is far from defending, and then the NDC, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he needs to sit up, because issue on the ground and people, the good people of Central Region, are not really happy with the way things are going. Yenkutie in Sama Gabriela Tete Odituja Yebabaka Yebetuaso.
Specifically to Central Region. And Annie, this morning I have to force myself not to get emotional about Central Region specifically, because what we are seeing in Central Region is of no fault of the indigenes of Central Region. The people of Aguna East, Aguna West, Awutu Senya West, Gomwa East, Gomwa Central, part of Awutu Senya East, Efutu, Gomwa West, the constituencies that are dependent on the Konyaku Water Works for water supply are not mining communities. Not even renting of mining equipment happens there. They are predominantly farmers, traders, and along the coast, fisher folks. But unfortunately, because of mining activities in Eastern Region, specifically in the Ayenswano constituency, where our intelligence has tracked that there were people at the mouth of Ayensu, the source of River Ayensu, mining in a community called Enum Apapam. And they are the cause of what is happening in Konyaku and Central Region.
So Konyaku is just the recipient of what's happening in those areas you mentioned. Okay.
And the Konyaku water system is the water system that supplies water to the east side of Central Region. So we have about 13 districts that are grappling with water for the last 3 to 4 weeks. If you open the taps in Winnipeg today, the water that will come out of your taps, Annie,
Lamujin is white.
Through no fault of these people. And unfortunately, I'm as angry as I am. I have to force myself not to say certain things, because I may end up inciting Central Region against Eastern Region. What has happened is totally unfair to us. It is very, very unfair to us. And I expect that the Eastern Regional RECSEC and the district director and the district chief executive of Ayenswano will start working on how to get rid of those people on that stream. Because that is why our people are struggling this morning.
Which stream?
River Ayensu.
River Ayensu.
So I'm sending this message into Eastern Region that if they don't want us on TikTok and social media lambasting them, they should take more proactive measures in getting rid of those people at Ayenswano who are in those mining in the rivers. If they don't want us marching into Eastern Region, they should get rid of those people. Because what is happening to us, it is very unfair to us. My constituency is in the same enclave. Awutu Senya West, part of this from Aguna East, you get into Awutu Senya West. So that is where my village actually is, on that side. So this thing hits very close to home. It's not like because I have to speak for NDC and say I come to defend anybody. We don't want communicable diseases. We don't want this crisis on our hands. And we expect Eastern Region to sit up and do the right thing. And that goes to all the other communities whose activities is affecting water in Central Region. We will not sit down for anybody to put us through this discomfort.
But you've sat down and you watched them and they've finished.
Okay, so that is Madame Gabriela, and kudos to her, because in a political landscape where you are able to get up and speak against your own political party, that makes you a true beacon, a leader, and also a true patriot. And you'll be a play the defense card. Someone who's able to call his or her own party to order. Say, you guys are moving to a slippery slope. And that's exactly what is really going on. Now, let us look at this from a different angle. Kevin Taylor is also saying, say, the whole issue about Mahama declaring a national emergency, it is something I was here shape you. Because Mnoka say MPP Nibi Ababe make comments. Or party say, banning and as a Mahama using military and also declaring national emergency, it is not going to solve Galamsey. And Kevin Taylor reacted to this in a different way. Yankoshe video back here to also.
Good. Now, man, we or a former NPP NP and ya so too or say Nidin Ade or say a Dr. Dixon Adumakun Kisi NPP for Mufra Bema. Omo MPs no Mufra Bemu pe automatically so be nyansa for omo abemu say mwa. This gentleman said, Wakabi been there or say, it is not about declaring a state of emergency. It's about going after financiers of Galamsey, sorry. Or say, or no, or your MPP or your former MP. The idea say, abandoning declare state of emergency, or say, and then is the solution. Or say state of emergency now, ni onwanga ni MPP. Asori anopa they say, John Mahama declare state of emergency, or say, yani kwayete so ni yanye. Na enye no nebe solve Galamsey problem no. The be solve Galamsey problem na say e wo se aban na ehwehwe omo a omo di sika ehye Galamsey mu. Omo mu hye kire a omo di sika no ehye mu. Na se yanhwe eno a sa state of emergency no enya ade a ebetumi stop eye de Galamsey no ma yensu de ni ate. We MPP need to say me. Ye nyina kuta card. Otua dues, me so me tua dues. Inti technically MPP for no they have gotten to that point, they are realizing say state of emergency no enye eno na betima solve Galamsey no problem no. In 2024 time and people like myself they be me one example you calling for state of emergency no, it was because President Ejina enim aka kire say Minerals Commission aka kire say chairman want to be illegal mining no. President said Minerals Commission boa. The same time no na sector minister from Poboati at the document a command say the party for Galamsey. President say enfano ho. The same time no you president nebusianfo ne nanfofo a na de chairman wuntumi omo ye Galamsey a president ne tua. At that point no we realized say the government wasn't doing anything and they were not willing to do anything. So the only thing we thought was the best to do no was to call to make sure say you declare state of emergency. But we have crossed that path where we have a new government that is willing to make sure the aye kan nyina na obetie na odibeye adwuma. The first thing I buy for way I say, Oma will be a license say onkoye mining. Meaning 2,500 licenses they kufuado any MPP for the ma Galamsey for no and then there we are all trying to stop. Secondly, I buy way by no a forest na answer na John Mahama Efra Bemu 2016 na ya tuma yesema wo bia mine wo no ekufuado ne MPP for ba omiamo omo be bie forest no and MPP for eco forest na omo ye den omo di den asase no omo twa koko tugu omo twa nnua tugu and virgin forest ade e bo ho ban no na do dan ko ekufuado ne ba omiamo ebe bie tu mu and this aban aba John Mahama said no oba beto sa forest him because obia ni ho kwan say obekọ your forest him akoye de Galamsey. Until you can see the difference between MPP and NDC. The NDC is willing and they are ready to fight illegal mining. MPP were enablers. Omo na omo ma eye insuo na asay no. Omo na omo ma green light no. Omo na omo be flat gate no. Until omo ngasa MP catch Ghana for say MPP for Eka say state of emergency also mo Jimmy because state of emergency no say oye ne na and solve a problem no problem ni nyina say ye be chi obi ti say chairman wuntumi atum Yabechi obia oye tien Galamsey odi ni sika ehye matum. Na state of emergency no sa wo de to ho a na se omo mukuta sika no omo ehye mu kena no omo da ho ho a Galamsey no ensi eno na abrantie we a sebi okọ opposition we hu nyansa no ekyerkyerem akere Ghana for se mame NG MPP for ndi oka MPP for ho state of emergency no mo ka no onim so mo ankasa mpo ma anya ifiri se no mo nkofo na ye gala no na ende no because aban we A2 anamon aban we kyerɛ se mo pese mo kono ebe nya se state of emergency de betu baby na aban hyehye a waye no san hyehye no ebetumi akɔ Galamsey aban hyehye ni bi na makeka akere wo no enti sa wotie MPP ni se oti radio so TV so akɔgyina nso bi ho abutu ho ejimi a oye aboa every say on pese obadwini se nipa. These are very important things and any say your money is so complicated. This is simple.
So that is what in Sema okay, so that is in Sema Kevin Taylor, Eddie Tuja. He was basically reacting to in Sema Ekoso MPP Miawaba Otabeka said the issue of say you be declare national emergency using military, it is not going to do any help. So Ebeyanka, we should allow Mahama some time. He knows exactly what he's doing. And these are the people, according to Kevin Taylor, we should be parading as true patriots, because even though he is in the New Patriotic Party, he knows that the fight against Galamsey, it is not just talking talk. It demands very serious action. And that action, definitely, it has to come from someone like John Dramani Mahama, who knows exactly what he's doing, which time to do it, what to do, when to do it, where to do it. We should allow him for him to do his work. So that is exactly in Sema Air Course definitely there are more reactions to this on social media. Once again, we are live, okay? Obiti me at the comments now, but what you think and as what you are making of all of these issues are Air Course and Sunny call the next update. So that is exactly what is really going on in regards to the whole Galamsey issue. NDC phobia kasa against it, MPP phobia so supporting Mahama. Politics there a serious pa. Now, Mino Kasi Abronya is out again. Now, since this is the first time Abronya is coming out to spill a whole lot of things. Abronya releasing no abe program Ohia TV online, oko YouTube ewo ho. Na wasi yadinu ko tumo no. He came to the conclusion said nema be e koso Ghana for him. And one person to the state is against. And now moving after Dubuahin. According to him, on South Night, no call any crowd okay. But Nipa ni case no forget Black Maria or no abronya etumu. Nipa ni case near West. Baby die near West Dubuahin. According to Abronya Dubuahin case, judge woman, the judge is biased. The judge is working for the states. In fact, Abronya can say be you share this particular video. Babaka, the second one of this same Abronya video. He went full head on. In fact, Abronya wabani de osi mum prepare 2-bedroom. Emano ewo Ghana police ni yoko because you'll be coming there and obekwa basa emani nye news. You share video ya Babaka ebeto aso.
Judicial kanka na ekoto me no. Adubuahin de na ya west time me de no. Adubuahin the national signal brew Adubuahin. Judicial kankana etome ewo circuit court no. Adubuahin de na ya west atemedian. Because ono ne de a deliberate attempt to say de ne shebotom e de na konsawam. Judicial kanka. Sa wudi obi akọ Mako Bank of Ghana akwa bank statement ya mo say eno na kire say obi afọ man sika. Mo de buy mo 200 200 pages a free mu ba mo say 300 pages nipa no request ya court me say ye mfa ma wo ne mfa ma wo tena because attorney general say mo release judicial kanka kese pa because of say see ye Ghana fo anka ho asemunti na no mo de koyem ekwana ebinuma yese Wombe womobe faso aye adwuma kwambone so ade ama aban no airtime. Say statement ya diaba enipa na request say page say eni ayinimu momfa mami ebesi na yesi yemfa ma no enso yesi fair trial under article 19 ye wo kroma but ye be make sure say sankrofo bi na omo so omba ye matami dunaka o se sankrofo no de ye ntenase mo mu judges anim ase o ye ntenase mo mu judges anim ase ko judgefo no papa wompa omo yard papa. The law is the law. Womo yard papa. But omo ketwa bi mienu bi o ma yese womo de ombe play stubborn. Na omo de kanka ho aduma na ombe ye no. Oh, ye the plier be remove. E ban say na ma charge obi. Na nipa no ye entitled to all the documents no. Or request say document na ma serve woman no. To say document we kita me e 44 pages. Mosimu di bedia dance ye. Modi man nipa no say mose documents no. Man lebu say ye 44. 44 ye kan ye nrumu nkwa famra mose momfama. Judicial kanka no. Ye kwani yaba ne ya ka kire mo say X. We have found X.
Okay. So that is exactly what is really going on. But Bronya didn't stop there. He also went after IGP Yohunu. He went after him. Now, okay, same be brave be the way Babaka ever to us.
I mean, Montru, near Tiana say, Yako be an anaba. Yakwako dama baba, non say, yen to yeja. Obia to me, no bia o cromho. Biana na meme koyen, mema kotria me danka. Because minim samako. Enti rent de matua say mano me de akrono de ntimi fame nko bie nai ene de obi anime ha Ghana say ampp 8 years no ampp amamuo 8 years no ntimi mfame ma bronye enko national security asoe ampp amamuo 8 years ntimi mfame ma bronye enko police headquarters ampp amamuo 8 years ntimi mfame nko bie na access dabi. Because setete ye onu me susu se ne mpaboa so se et se tunkusa eba be chime ko police station na me ko duru ye na no usu obi adi watem me duru police station a usu me mobile phones wan na me say otonsa frame me anasa frame me mobile phones. The first thing I me duru police station you requested from me say me hand over me mobile phones and from Ghana Police Service. Meaning say, more track kwana me faso ye den enya me information ade ye maduma e wo hia TV. Na me ya brewaba nti emu me kwase ya. Waton safre ni padua no me duru ya no me mobile phones e hia tete ye wonu acha me ankasa amaba. Enti se me mobile phone ni ho de a as say ye handcuff for me, Edimi Kotum, because my sword, ye bisa mobile phone, me say me need mobile phones. Asa, na me mobile phones in you. Me baba kwana ma hwahwehwem, me hwahwehwem no ma hu ne mobile die afri me ho, ne mobile hia afri me ho. Enti saade na mobile hia afri me ho no. Ma boa me ho ansa na meko etime mfa ma na wagi askane o no wahu a wo di information bra bronye o nanka wona asie se obi adidi watem se wo mpaboa se tunkusa wona asie o se obi adidi watem nipa ne mobile phone eni watem me do the first thing munyi ni mobile phones nyina amra ne enkohwe ade kura ewom because omususu say obi wa aban mu a oma abronye information e phone no so de monsanka ati mo fa me nkotum because me ma so den phone no pa baba de mo wagya me de fa me kotum se mobile phone na ma ne so de mbekọ akotum fa me kotum wo mo hankofo me wie ye nse de me kan ye me se na nado 8 years administration em fa me nko police station ye wie ya na mo se companies mienu ye hwehwemu na ye odia. Aye, ye board in a sempa countryman. Yes, it's true. It's abronya dia, I am media. Abronya communication and manning. I am media no kre. Aduma abanya aduma ba na dia enam se me na me see Jubilee House. Abanya aduma me dia yen say asempa countryman me na me eno na me di see Jubilee House. Asempa countryman and I'm in see Rich Hospital in Tibonchimentum. Because won't mean family mamma now when him and Miss Sammy questions ya a hunya. Tina Sammy some mouth answers ya hunya day, here. Because throughout some companies way at na Kroma the last 9 years and ya by a dumada. But company no survival, and ya buying too much survival. A survival, Ntino. Who pass investigate here? My investigate here and kosi who? Nti afraid I'm not pass more amo to free me what say. Ebi ame ya juma bina a whole government machinery. Mo pa bronya chena. My investigate here amunya he. Enfri no what say ye pe bibi corruption bi dia yire no ntinu munya nwie no nti saade ya wo da ye mfoso ne yan kase wadidi IGP atem ne ye nyire no nti afede me companies ye wie ya adama obia publish say me 15 houses one crime. Aye Azeka Mankwa Jare on a bono deputy program officer Edema Honorable Kennedy Agyapong and a Maswan Mahama on a Kennedy Agyapong a director of operations. On a publishing on social media say 15 houses a one crime. Nini na ye media. Mikoduriano na CID officer set se onu ebisame say sa dan na Kennedy Agyapong Crawford no publish say eye me mabronya dia no fa hin na ewo me nkonkwo kire omo me nkonkwo kire omo wo mre kwa me ankasa ma twere krata e dia kwa akoma bie na for said omo investigate sa 15 houses no omo say eye me dia no Mikoko dru CID aso ya. Investigator said say onu bisam say Kennedy Agyapong Crawford na make am publish ade no social media. Azeka mankwa jare ene Maswar Mahama say 15 houses no ebi wo dome ebi wo ha ebi wo Kumasi enti me nkyere omo location ene kwana me fa so me akwae nam say we anu ye ne simple me dini nyina sa dan dunum ni nyina no oman ntwehwem na me de nyina che oman Ghana na Ghana Police Service for kra mo personnel for no etoda bi omunni ba bi da nti ma firi makoma mu me de sa dan 15 na Honorable Kennedy Agyapong Crawford publish say ye me media no me akoma mu fita me de che oman Ghana ene Ghana Police Service for nti mo mama de na mo mfro mo no mo nkyere ba bia o me de minim na mo koko hu na ya abronya dia me de che oman Ghana 15 ni nyina me de che na mo wie so a enya sa me de che keke o mo wie a mo nsa no mo me kwa adu na me duru koto a nya fe na me kwa kasa enya me dia me duru koto a me dia tum se ye me dia se be ya me ko afia sentem.
So that was the issue about Bronya Minoka saying, it's still ongoing, and then there are lots of issues are also in regards to what really did happen, what is going on, because day in day out in the same baby and I would see in sema abronye kana no party say chini e no as a Agyapong and Agyapong or Monsa Eshase. Well, I don't know, but then the party is really fractured. If it is so, any Charlie in some say a suma sepa. Me na mtishu binyansa boakwa. Ubete yensemu in some shada ke de message. Nyansa boakwa Hot FM. I wish he's still there. I used to love his show a lot. Now Otaye show. So that is exactly what is really going on in regards with Abronya issue. I just say Ababeye a national issue right now on this particular in this particular time. Me know Kasa. So Ubeka say it is what it is, and it is what it is. So you have a call in some for so because you're calling some for so not you will a year the United States of America. So what is really happening there? In some Ecosu. So straight up, Yabeko US, you could see what is really going on in the United States of America because a big issue. Now, Kwame Nkrumah was Ghana's president, yes. But then ultimately, coup d'etat is here, a bra or travel out of the country, or kono, or koya wan babyum, coup d'etat is here. And even Kwame Nkrumah was president, he who said successfully, and people try, successfully, they didn't succeed because they wanted to eliminate or assassinate him, but then it was all unsuccessful. But then now, US President Donald Trump, will declassify certain CIA records. CIA ne yekua ewo USA. It stands for the Criminal is it Criminal Investigation Authority? Forgive me, but let me get a full meaning of CIA right now because it's definitely not a CID. I will say again the full meaning of it because sorry, there's something which is going on in regards with a year Okay. Yenye dino. So recently, His Excellency, I don't know if I have to use the word His Excellency, but then recently, President Donald Trump, or president, what declassify a special report. So I report if CIA, uko America, CIA ekua ejina ho ema the Central Intelligence Agency. Bibia kosubia no omonsa they know a lot omo intelligence and they know how as to most of the things of course in regards with political power, government and also war, especially in assassination and removal of certain leaders. Now Trump a president so what declassify certain documents about the death of Kwame Nkrumah and now about the untimely coup d'etat and the removal of Kwame Nkrumah as president of the Republic of Ghana. So declassify na say bibi o hwa bibi classified a secret to declassify na sisi ano enye secret bi obi a bitima kwhwe de ewum nti e krata e be bies no obi e read de ewum. But then declassify no Senator John Dramani Mahama e kan on the 6th March no declassify no ehun se Kwame Nkrumah US for no monsa eshase. Now me no ka say no one person no so ababe join the whole issue about Kwame Nkrumah and how he was removed papa bi friend Dr. Bernard Tutu Buahene, who is a political marketing analyst or party say the United States of America they perceived Kwame Nkrumah's vision for United Africa as a direct threat to geopolitical and economic interests. Now according to him this was what aided the America to move and also subsequently plot the removal of Kwame Nkrumah. Now this whole argument and this whole expose and in Sema Urban, it came on the eve of Kwame Nkrumah's birthday, which was the 21st of September. The next day, which was the 22nd of September, a year holiday in Ghana. You could see some of the two babaka a brand TV friend cautious so I could PM Kwame Nkrumah ni fee or party say everything about Kwame Nkrumah's house is actually intact. In question video
I hear that even US, Europe, started learning from that ideology and decided to build the European Union. And I understand that the Americans, felt that Nkrumah's idea of getting Africa to be united was a threat to them and their development. And so why would they allow such a person to move on? All right. But I feel that the security, you know, that Nkrumah needed from his own compatriots in Africa, you know, wasn't there. That level of betrayal, you know, was so deep that this is where we find ourselves as a continent, you know, so much divided to the extent that even moving from Ghana to Togo, between Aflawe and Lomé, you know, it's a kind of stress, all right?
Inti nsema papa yi edi tu dwa no and kudos to Trump for declassifying that particular thing. But then me kasa brandy bi I follow him a lot. So I think say friend Goshes or see the African experience. I don't know say any news show na YouTuber. He's visited Kwame Nkrumah's house on the eve of his birthday, and surprisingly, you know, he's found a lot of things there. I think say idea all of us should watch and emulate it. Yenko share this particular video of what really happened. Ebra Goshes ekopie ewo Kwame Nkrumah fia. According to him, no, everything inside there, no, and Kwame Nkrumah in the bedroom, no, most of the things no, seemed intact. So as a nation, what are we doing about this? Video
Friends, welcome. My name is Goshes, of course. I need you to look at the background of this video very well. There is something very important I want to show you here. But before that, let me say special shout out to the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Ama Kofi Bua, who also doubles as the MP for the Elembele district. Here is the Kwame Nkrumah Museum or Mausoleum here at Nkrofo. Now, if you do remember, I made a Facebook post and I said that this man over here, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was not an Nzima. The man over here, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was not a Ghanaian. The man, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, over here was an African. The man was an African and African alone. And I need you to come with me. I want to show you something. Ever come across a Bible quote that reads that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak? Check this one out. This one here is by far one of the most popular quotes of the African political legend. It reads that I am not African because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. Right? He was very specific in his communication. He could have actually said that I am not an Nzima, but he never said that. He could have actually said that I am not a Ghanaian, but he never said that. He was very specific. He said, I am not African. And the line is over here, because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. Very specific. Now, the thinking of a regular Ghanaian or Nzima is way different from the thinking of an African. When you meet a Ghanaian thinking, a Ghanaian will only think about things pertaining to Ghana. If you meet an Nzima thinking, an Nzima will only think about things pertaining to Nzima. If you meet a Krobo, a Sudanese, a Gambian, a person from the Kenyans, the Ethiopians, if you meet all of these things, in fact, if you ever come across a man that says or put his hand on his chest and say that I am an Akan, I am an Ashanti, I am an Ewe, I am an this, be careful of these people, because all these people, what they tell you is that it is only tribal agenda they can propagate. That is what it means. So for him to tell you this, that I am not an African, that should tell you that indeed the man was really not one of us as Ghanaian or as Nzima as you suppose. Of course, he may be a man that was birthed onto this land, growing up, knowing that this is his origin, walking around here and running around with people and all that. But when he came of age like Jesus Christ, he was like, no. He then found out that he is not like one of you people. If you give a Ghanaian, a typical Ghanaian, a position, what happens is that they tend to think about focusing only things pertaining to Ghana. And even that one would be a miracle if they choose to, like, truly commit their time in thinking about the nation Ghana or Gambia or whatever nation it is, it's a miracle. Because most of the time, when people like get opportunity, I'm talking about people living in Africa continent, alive, when they get opportunity, the immediate thing they will think about is the people in their very immediate environment. They're thinking about their family, they're thinking about their friends, their loved ones and all that. All they're thinking is just the people around them. That is why it is very easy for almost, if not everyone, let's say 90% of people, if a president come across or come out from a certain country, a certain tribe, and then he rules and his term comes to an end, and that individual was unable to do something for or do anything in their community, and then the people will show up and say that you became the president of our country. What did you do for us? Becomes an argument. What did you do for us? That is the thinking of a typical Ghanaian. That is the thinking of a typical tribal person. You see, a tribalistic person is a dangerous person. That is what I'm trying to say. A tribalistic person is a dangerous person. And you know, the cardinal sin in this world is selfishness. That thing that makes you consider yourself first. That thing that makes you consider yourself first. That is what sin is. But interestingly, the man in Nkrumah was not like that. Not like any of that. That is why till today, people are so resentful of him that he could take Ghana's money. You know, people so hate it because they said that, why would he take our money and give it to foreign nations? He used Ghana's money to build other nations. Why? It was so wrong of him. That is the voice of a typical Ghanaian thinking, or a tribal person thinking. He cannot see anything beyond his immediate environment. He is only looking at what is around. Nkrumah was a different breed, bro. He was not like any of these people. So, Namibia, Angola, South Africans and all that, he saw all of these nations as eggs, one egg, individual eggs that needs to be brought together and put into one basket and be protected as one. To Nkrumah, listen to this, to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, there are only two races of people living on this earth. In his mind, it is something that was so much imprinted in his DNA. Like, he closes his eyes, he knows what it is. Only black and white people, done. Nothing again. If Nkrumah saw a person, irrespective of where they are coming from, and the person has this color, this melanin here, that is his brother, that is his friend, that is his mother.
So that is it. God says echo the bedroom. Watch a video extensively. He went even into the bedroom of Kwame Nkrumah. Echo chere idea to say na very is something that say everything there is intact. Now we preach the Pan-Africanist agenda. Now, this news is definitely a very sad news because breaking news abekanye air patch say NDC former Council of State chair or sansu NDC member pa meet say founder no okahom the pillars of NDC okahom nipa yefeni Cecilia Johnson Menoka say she is dead. Now that is a picture on the screens for those of you Muni Mamiwe. It is definitely a very sad news. But then who is she and why has this particular death really rocked Ghana? Because there's even a picture His Excellency John Dramani Mahama at a point in time, it is Cecilia Johnson. It is kama. So we'll be giving you a brief background about who Cecilia Johnson is and how this particular news ashe inkofo ye pa amanfo ka say Odupon yakaso Odupon tutua ebinie. This is a woman who was a stalwart of the National Democratic Congress. It is a Minoka say she is confirmed dead. We'll be putting on Mahama picture on the screens very soon. She's received many honors from the previous administration to the current, but unfortunately, we are learning that she's dead. So Cecilia Johnson, or a veteran Ghanaian politician and also a chairperson of the Council of State of the Council of State, we are learning that she's dead at the age of 79. Now, Niwono happened yesterday, that is on Monday, 22nd of September 2025, after a short illness. I'm saying now Oyari Kakra, but still details remain unknown. But then we are also learning that this particular lady, she served in administration of all three successive presidents of a year. The NDC government. She served with the Jerry John Rawlings administration. She served under the late John Evans Athamil's administration, and she's also served under John Dramani Mahama administration. Affectionately, what she's known among former friend anti-CC. Now, she was the general secretary of the 31st December Women's Movement, a pioneering organization among for credit for championing women's empowerment in the 1980s, in the 1990s, and even recently as the 2000s. I don't know if they tend themselves to be that glue Ghana. Now, we are learning that she also went on to serve as the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development under Rawlings era, and also she was the chairperson of the Council of State Ebra or Sasidi, the late Professor Jidovu Awuno under President Mahama first administration. And also we are learning that she was a leading member of the National Democratic Congress. Okay, the old guys and generations are now I just say pushy NDC ideology, NDC mantra na account. Now let us put this particular picture on the screens, because this picture we will see her together with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Recently, let's just say on Mahama, I just say Mahama Ekwan in China. You could see how Mahama actually regarded her. So this is a picture of her and John Dramani Mahama. Now let's follow up more with who she is. We are learning that this particular woman, she was born in Ewa Domase in the Bron Ahafo region. Today in the Bono region. And we are also learning say she was one of 12 children of the Joanna Bennett, well-respected matriarch and her family. Saying Ubia what news of the passing. It is a very great shock to them. So Yankopon Enfa Madam Cecilia Johnson a cry ANC. I know that this is going to shock a lot of NDC people, and they are not going to be happy. Now, on this same vein, we are moving on to Nigeria. Now, we gave you an earlier update and an update about this. What you are watching on the screen is what really happened. UBA, Nigeria, UBA, United Bank Africa, or one of more branches are Lagos. Now, apparently, this story building, say a 6-7 story building or so, Eja etoho, the jatoho no, not just any exit, because elevator na kedin for back down, not a trap. So people had to actually jump into for a free so. In fact, a camera no cost you see people at the upper floor, a fee for seat floor, not just say so what you are seeing on the screen is at the point in time, not just say or more dropping cushions. So they are dropping cushions and falling on it. But unfortunately, now the catch us say a bit more falling. They had off balance. Send a who say be more air falling. They had off balance. Into a bit more air falling, especially this particular man or Babe falling. So we should video the con kind power. Ultimately, of falling. He landed his head down because Oshana or you be asking Nimuye to Kakra was and we are learning say that particular thing a course people actually go for sure monkwa. I saying of course we hunti or shift form no or ni tini e shift form or shift form and chebia and we learn say collapse here. Now far from that, we are learning saying same way in our air course no UBA, because now to say be me wunya the be UBA ebeka so enya no kre everyone was fine near the but now I no say no UBA for United Bank Africa on information about say indeed there were some people or sure mon kwanti entry the screens so these are young people. These are people who are very young. It tells you how severe and how sad this is. Into also rest well, dearly beloved UCAP Lions. That is United Capital. It's in Osha or say nano a year ijaya at all or one of our more bank branches in Kofua or Mifrim in ye. As you can see, a dia a what has say Yesutoni Shidopo. Or no, not to say or United United Capital Compliance, what I say, Menoka say was training as you can see in year 2004 to 2025. So she was barely like 21 years. And the second person, so also training Kehinde Adioye on year 1989 2005. Definitely she will be around 36 years or so. On also training also United Capital Compliance. And if we Indidi so Amidike Okeke. Or no, 1984 to 2025. Or no, the age no sure around 44 years of 44 years. I mean, no, say no. She United Capital no, one of them trust. Also a training kwan. Any about see her, a year. Bema bakwa edin a yede friend ye Olumide oyi fondurun during no na we di just a year almost 27 years. Our share date of birth na 1998 to a year somewhere 2025. And also one of the members of the United Capital Trustees. And Opeyime Oloyide or no so no na or United Capital Compliance member, one of them workers or no we the age na 28 years are very sad. And Rebecca Adenuga a United Capital Wealth Management or no so no age almost a year 28 years sorry so these are the key members who actually lost their lives. The question is so simple. Africa, when? How can you build a whole big building like this and then people will have to be jumping and draining engagement? There should be an exit. Omuya building now, exit now na entrance. Into BBC people are trapped in it. Where is the staircase? We see building this shepherd. There's no staircase. It's a janitor, the lift was not working and people had to perish. And now we enye fedi agro kra apapeye so babisia as Africa Jimmy nkwa na fire service force ba ho fire service was not able to go there because akade ne sa omo lifts a mutimi tese utimi gina so minim se no ye forklift me kaita mana me run cleaning service company ye ko pesa machines ni bi machine bia ugina so a aye se ugina so na de wakosro saa itimi de wakosro saa aye se crane bi no we should have these kind of things. Ebi ni ho ene nkofo unfortunately nkofo edi omunka etwa so na so sa sensem ni siye no ena bank for no UBA for no mbeka ma yinti a omosi insem na isi no they've insured people because yasem say all they think about is money. Ena sebi nkwasia nema ekoso yankopon enfa omokra ensi. Watching this breaks my heart because these are young people. I'm older than most of them. As I say, and can what say omudi omunka etwa so sa ene no we mu nyina no sebi omunka ye ho ewate asefo asase so it should tell you how extreme and how sad these kind of things are. It just say very, 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 very sad. Some of the videos I'll show on the screens, people jumping. How? These are big questions I will see beside home. And definitely an investigation should be done. Definitely an investigation should be done into this particular matter. And Sana in 24 say BBC no I will see a funny editor home for. Are we learning from this, especially Ghana? And yes, we are trained. Emma, if anything, ato yansa na sebi idisuan yansa. So insane bebre and definitely we really want to know exactly what will really go on. See our family members, and these are mothers, these are husbands. Unfortunately, omokra then itraswa. Yes, so sad. Okay, so you've been moving on because prophecy about MPP flag bearers, about Betuja and this particular prophecy, and sema it's for a year very, 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 very sad. I was say a shin yipa because Pastor Bakwa Beka, what I say, Pastor Bakwa Abeka, see a frost about Beka. We need to look at this in a very different light. Now, in some about Betuja parties, the MPP party should be standing firm. I didn't tell America, sir, according to a pastor bia or in Simbia Babe Tujano. We Yankupo Yachen say a MPP 4 or more standing flag bearers before a BB contest and now after one of them will die. And I also know or the warning asan kwa koma abronye. Na ensem bibri in fact prophecy die. I don't know, but pastors no ebi mu kan sem bi say ya na ama obia ewu abonkrofo. Straight up yenkuti sema pastor Eddie Tujoy Babaka. The same man of God also had a certain thing to say about Christo Asafo founder our pastors aba pay no or personal or very revered Ghana no and the country Ghana no was say your fan is serious. In video we Babaka ebe to us.
In the name of Jesus. I want to say this. I don't like prophesying about politicians. Every time I talk about them, then people bring their foolishness to your doorstep. But the people that are going for the primaries in the MPP, I see one of them dead. Yeah. It will be either before the primaries or whatever, or after, right after. We pray for preservation. To be an innocent man, down, gone down. We pray that God will preserve him in the mighty name of Jesus. And I want you to send this video to Abronya and his people. They should go and look for Archbishop and apologize to him. If they have not done it. If they have done it, thank God. But even if they have done it, the Lord said they should go there on Sunday service. Sunday service. While he's preaching, they should go and kneel down before everybody and apologize. If this is not done, what the Lord showed me will come on that man. Will be because the Lord said, I want to make an example of somebody against the kingdom. Watch it. We are not of them that are looking for trend. Me per trend and young come say we na me say. When you me family so kasa, ya can your ma bebre. Now no me can you rabi one set. America and on the bar officer me wa. When you me kasa for you. But this is the warning God gave me to give to that man. That he should be careful. You see, don't allow politics to destroy the dignity of what a man is supposed to be. Sabi ye be before. Unim say be before ye try ye senia ye be nyo boni ni diamant penny for me boy. Is that not what we were taught and trained?
So that is what Sofui or the Atuja said. The flag bearers, one of them, it could be Kennedy Agyapong, it could be Baumia, it could be Professor Yahweh Dichu, it could be Kwame Nkrumah, it could be any person. Or say Mumu Bako, or who said Baku before 31st January 2026 flag bearer elections, so 9 people flag bearer elections, and that's after elections, no. Inti Tuanamo na bompaye, and it could be true. Because contest no and just physical, it could also be spiritual for that matter. Now, this same man of God, he had some words to say. Bra or say a year Apostle Kujusafu with free monom. He had this thing to say about him, and definitely, you know, the video she ebe last video ba yebe end the program. Take a video yeba baka. Na yedi trust.
Ya wada etwemu yi na saa chede no ne ye frɛ ne kantanka na oyansuruma kese de ma the whole Africa. Na wo kan biara na obi se o enye no kre na ye papa kantanka kra wato cars ni free China no assembly wa Ghana and kyerɛ sɛ wo ye manufacturer e kyerɛ sɛ o ye assembly plant. Eti ya na me ne wo kase omayi anhwe na wo mayi nyina na omayi anka difo a wo Ghana ansia ne ya mompaya. This country will struggle because the gift called Kantanka was a man God sent and he understood his calling. Emre bi atwa mitie ne message bi no ka se ye ni na ye nyame obi ante ase e was Psalm 82 verse number 6 or see ye are gods. Yeni na ye nyame but obi nim twere ne ntekere na sintino sa wo kasasa ye kasa you are becoming blasphemous enye no kre. The man was a gift God gave to this nation, and we should have protected that gift. We should have held that gift. We should have guided that gift. And pay me by me hear one of the videos. Now what can say? And Timo she ama me dinim di ako owuo mu ana. Ono akansa. Say yenya Kristo asafo team na they will find that video. The video is on TikTok. What can I say? I think whether in 2022 or 2024, he said that yeah, share Emma media chedi ako owuo mu ana. Mamin kan sembi na ebeya aseme mu edupa. Me wono say enipa bonche ako ni fie na answer no obewu no me church members be in the area ho enti eya na me co visitation in that area me hu da se wo bi kosra no enso when we no say car sesia police fo gina ho ye kuratu e guide me bi say ye guide owufo na na say ye guide de because nimdia wo kita no wawu sa nimdia no yentumi nkotum free form am say wo bi tirimu biem
yentumi angade sa nimdia no tamwana otiase na onimdia na wose ebonimdia no ho ban no ya mbonimdia no ho ban ama odinimdia na wu na wawu no ye koni fie akobonsa na eya na mprepi me ka se bibini wo problem na bibini problem no eye psychological eye mental bibini problem ne se ni nimdie no omprese nimdie be kwa anim metumi a catch on authority say the enti ayamwa ye papa kantanka ni na say oye bibini na bibini wa gibi woni tirimu say me boa me nua mani peja obeji di na woji di a ebia ye momidi enti ye ni na ye nsai ye ni na ye nkafom ye ni na me peja bibini penesa papa no na oye nyame sheda de ne ba oye okaso oye nyame kura bia na obi ante ase yie woye God personified in man na oye honhom a no wabetena nipadua mu se wonni mama men kantre wetiefo se ebran tokwasi wo Liberia na yefa Liberians free Liberia edo mo ba Ghana no me nipa adult nkwa 24,000 na yenkan enkolam fanka ho no yeru akantanka nkwa na yi aduane ehwe se nipa na for about days and sana Jerry John Rollins take over their own history no nkwohwehwe. He fed 24,000 people. It's a political blindness and political foolishness in Tino. Yam was a gift, because Ebia no one any political party be Ebia no one political be huntino. Yashama send him Diano actually on mine na on mine be bread sabi. See here. Meaning a lot of gifted people in this country. Our mine emu or many crown help. Yabetchen ase wo bewu na so wu a yakwaho akwa no enuoma bibisa se sa nuoma no de beye den enti na se oman bia mu no onyankopon tumi yi obi ba oman ne mu se sa nipa we se muso ne mu yi a oman ni nyina bedi ne so mfa general the ama China ya China anya China for the obeka no onim the ama China ya China ya season pin ene o communist party o mate the o shisha say no ma set standard no ma set regulations ama sa regulations no eboa o man no tie o man biara woni a good leader no it doesn't become a good country for sure o man Ghana say a problem here in leadership o man we nya o man utum se nyame sheda nwono o man Ghana se mintwa wano ameka se eba ne independence in Africa kra na nya o man Ghana na dikai one of the leading in West Africa omunya independence ayo man enti shade bakan bia wono mi bia se ya nya careful ni embreki sa no me na so it goes back to Bakaina seminar. And now say me kase o sha se no kase and then Bakaina ye behwe ne only the yedi kan wo no abusuam. Na the wedi kan nya ni freedom obibi ho. That is it. Ono kran so aye Bakain. No problem. Na sa case no to minya effect. Enti se nipa ebe no ni nipa ne nenam enya nyimdia ne ntiase amwa na okura dunkura tumi kura nyansa o de beko wom. Enti even though ye Bakain eba no freedom eba no can say fa ahudie e wa brofo nsemu a ye abakan wa man bebre ni so but ni nyina achi no esan sa abakan honhom bi a esoditi abakan wo no ma bebre ho nti no eno mapa o nyame de ama o man mu kura no esan sa suppression na abakan nya no nti no yenso so a blindfold ye ama de ye ebe boy wo man mu kura no yehu ya da form say team Kwame Nkrumah o man panyina no dikan Jesus Christ
Yanre Kwame Nkrumah ni nimdie ni nyansa. Ena no menam tema na mehu so mo construct kwan no na ye papai concrete road na waye no. Ye pa concrete road no after so many years it's still as fresh as yesterday. Na MPB sebabi mi modi waye kwan ye ni 3 months kwan na tutu. Any 3 months ho a kwan na tu obi enya nimdie enya a gift from God. Yes kan nyame. This nation have a problem, and that problem, if we don't address it, you better struggle. Say ye nya leadership a won suro nipa. Ye nya leadership a wo kura to me. Na on suro di obi beka. No di ni nine be si forma. O man ye be brepa. Etiana se obi phone lines. Now can say di for me sen komo. On be sen kom so man be tough for me no kran so. Because the ayayo minor in the spirit does not warrant good things to come. Etieno man penia ye benya no be ye no ma pani na ye pene kunu ye pene tu na de so na me bompa ye no nyame ka che me se me kan che ye radjo Mahama se mates ono abie na no aka se wonya ho kura won sanko me sere no ahobrase mu se wonya kura mane nko. Because after this 4 years, say Otuasua, he will be recorded as the worst president in history. And what may be basic? So say Okwa. Say Oye na adwin say amendment aba. Na sa amendment ni mu no Obetuasua, he will be recorded as the worst president in the history of Ghana. Debi. Dia wonyamine na ka wo kukuwa mu no onti eno a. Emaninko ono so de nyamene ne kasapa emaninko ba bia me nye politician me odifo na de onyame be catch eno na ema me pe yera kantan kasem. He was not political. He understood this God-given calling and he had come to help the nation. Osimunyame enkakuayo munsi suku mame nanka me kre
enanka me be kai kuayo papa yi
ena koko farmers ebre ye penya koko mua na 3,200 yentumi nya wonhwe enso kwa abroche na korre the price of it